build this in a cave with a box of scrap.
Hi, my name's Sean. Today we're going to be talking about Spider-Man Far From Home and the MCU. Today I'm joined by Matthew.
Hello, I'm Matthew.
And Ben.
Hi, I'm Ben.
Yeah, we're just going to start off by talking about what we've seen in the past few weeks. Matthew, you said you've got a film you want to talk about, so do you want to...
Yeah, well, a film I saw fairly recently was a Netflix one called The Ritual. Which was quite a fun film. It's like a British film. 4 friends go on an expedition to Sweden, hiking in the mountains at the beginning of the film. One of their group kind of dies in an accident, and it's kind of in tribute to him. Similar to what we talked about before, where there seems to be a bit of resurgence of kind of folk horror at the moment, and I would say it fits into that category.
Yeah.
It's not obviously like that, like something like Midsummer or something, but
yeah,
it does have kind of the kind of evil force in it is the Nordic kind of mythology lore type thing.
How recently was it made?
It came out last year, I think. Yeah, it's enjoyable. It's one of those films where it's kind of spend the vast majority of the movie not really showing I guess what monster or whatever you want to call it. You'd see a bit of it towards the end, which I like because I was thinking recently about how with Jaws most famously, not showing the monster is a big thing, but I was thinking how I get disappointed if you don't see it at least a bit.
I haven't seen it, but there was that Godzilla film that came out 5 years ago where people
the Bryan Cranston one?
People complained about that. Yeah.
But I think it's a balance because imagination is scarier obviously, and that's a lot of the best horror plays that. But I do feel if you don't see anything, then I feel a bit disappointed.
You gotta have some payoff of some sort.
Yeah.
There are definitely times when it's appropriate to give you a good look. I mean, when you think about The Thing, multiple iconic looks of the forms it takes. It's great. Imagine if you only got glimpses. When the head's scuffing along the floor, it's fully seen, but it's great.
And I guess in the original Alien, you don't want to see it too much because if you see photos of it in complete light, it looks kind of bad, but because it's always in the dark.
It's kind of the classic example, isn't it? Where if they originally wanted to show it more, but after they realised how kind of dumb it looked. Yeah.
But somehow it doesn't look dumb, just because how they edited it.
I think it definitely works in Alien.
The best ones are when it finds a balance, because I haven't seen it, but I remember hearing about this movie Bird Box, and the thing, the premise is that you can't look at the monster, or you kill yourself. Yes. You never see it at all for the whole thing, and that to me I would feel a bit let down by that. Yeah. You don't have to show it in its full form, but show some kind of visual representation of it.
Did you see A Quiet Place?
I haven't seen A Quiet Place.
That's
but I've heard it's similar.
Yeah, I haven't
A Quiet Place is actually really good because it's the same idea except with sound. I think people think that was generally the better made Bird Box. Let's go back to the film you were talking about.
The Ritual. Yeah, so that's it's a pretty good film, and it's one of those ones where it's a horror movie, but the reason it's kind of it has some quite likable characters, and I think especially if you're British, it's quite relatable, good group of lads, so that kind of humanises it, and I would say it's worth a watch. I would recommend it.
Fair enough.
I have been meaning to actually.
I haven't heard of it, but I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's enjoyable.
In my head, I always associate it with The Endless, which I also haven't seen, but I always see them recommended to me on Netflix. No, I think they're about the same age. Maybe that's why I associate them. Another weird, potentially culty horror. I don't know, but those two have been on my list for a while.
Film I saw recently it's not a new film at all, but I saw Paths of Glory by Stanley Kubrick, which is a World War One film.
His World War One,
Yeah, I was surprised how good it was. I hadn't really heard much about it, but then I went to the Stanley Kubrick museum in London. There's a section on each of his films, and there was one on Paths of Glory. And it's oh right, I didn't really even.
Was that one of his earlier ones?
It was one. It wasn't his. He made 1 or 2, maybe 3 films before it, but...
He had that noir phase at the beginning.
Yeah.
Films The Killers and Killer's Kiss.
Yeah, he had a couple before it, but then Paths of Glory, I guess, was... I don't know how well it did commercially, but I know critically, everyone loved it, and
Does it hold up pretty well?
Yeah, I actually think it's one of his best films, so...
Yeah.
The story's really good, the acting's really good, the characters are really good. It's about basically in World War One, high up guy is told to lead a bunch of the troops to try and get them to push forward from the trenches. But then that all kind of goes bad, but the general's telling them to fire on his own troops. And then no one wants to do that. when they told the big general guy, well, not, he's not big, but like the top,
high up.
top guy.
Is he a particularly large general?
I don't know, not really. But he kind of lies. It's like, oh, I never said that, blah blah blah. And then there's kind of like the rest of the film's kind of like a courtroom thing, but it's like really good. Like, there's like one guy below the guy who said to fire on the troops, who's like defending the troops, all the reasons why that's kind of like bullshit. And I won't spoil the rest of it, but it's really good and interesting and.
Is it one of those ones where it's based on a real battle or something? Do you know, or is it just kind of fictionalized?
It's at least based on like something similar,
Rough
I assume.
events, yeah.
I thought that was a really good film, and like if you like Kubrick, definitely check it out.
How does it compare to Blackadder Goes Forth?
Oh,
in my opinion.
well, it's less comedic. It's definitely less comedic, but
that had a courtroom episode.
Oh yeah, it did, didn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I love
Speckled Jim.
Yeah, I love
the
Blackadder 4, but
yeah, you don't get a lot of World War War. It's World War One, isn't it?
World War
yeah,
One,
you don't get a lot of World War One films because I remember seeing recently that there's one coming out like in next year or something, directed by Sam Mendes, who did.
Oh yeah.
Did a couple.
I saw a trailer for that.
He did Skyfall and Spectre.
Is it called 1917?
Yeah, that's it. 1917.
Because I saw a trailer last week.
And it has a few big, like it has Benedict Cumberbatch and a few others.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because it's kind of like one of those periods where, like, obviously really significant, but doesn't get explored that much.
Well, it's because like there wasn't Nazis and like Hitler and stuff. So
the Nazis, World War II lends itself more because. Like
there was more going on,
and and the Nazis are so kind of universally agreed upon as bad.
But like World War One's interesting because like every side was bad, and it is interesting to see
grim stuff all around.
This film especially kind of showed that even your own side was messed up in some way.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
especially for one that was in the 20th century, presumably.
Yeah, it was made in
1950s, or was that too early?
It was made in the late 40s or 50s, I don't know. So.
Oh really?
Yeah. It's in black and white, anyway. Yeah. I think obviously Doctor Strangelove's way more comedic, but like that's probably the most similar Kubrick film I could think of. That's like more satirical, but
probably only similar because of the war themes, though, right? Like I would have.
There's something about like the way they're directed where if you look at 2001 and The Shining, they're like different.
I suppose in Doctor Strangelove, there's a lot of talking in the war room, a lot of sat around the table talking. Is that
the courtroom maybe. Yeah. That was a good film anyway, I saw.
You seen anything, Ben?
Well, it was mentioning World War II. That reminded me, actually. A while ago, I watched Overlord. Did anyone watch that one?
I've heard about.
I've not actually heard of that one.
That's the Wild Robot one. The World War II film with sort of, a Nazi super soldier kind of thing.
It's really weird because I remember seeing the DVD for that in HMV or something. The cover, it looks like a World War II film, but then I happened to see it just discussed online as like a zombie movie.
No, it's a Wolfenstein film, essentially.
Oh, wait, no, I did. There was this last year.
Yeah,
came out fairly recently.
Maybe last year.
Yeah, I think I do remember seeing a trailer or posters for it now. I only just clicked in my mind.
So you're saying it's a lot like Wolfenstein, like supernatural?
Very much so, yeah.
It did look like stylistically like that,
yeah. There's a group of American soldiers in occupied France, and their mission is to sabotage a communications tower. Okay. But in there, they find these experiments, and that's where the Wolfenstein stuff kicks in. And,
that's interesting. Was it? Do you know if it was advertised like that? Because just from looking at the DVD cover, I remember thinking, well, that's just a World War II movie, and then afterwards seeing it discussed, that's what. Maybe I just didn't see much.
There was something about like the poster and the way it was advertised where I thought like, oh, that does look kind of over the top Wolfenstein-y kind of.
In the film itself, it's a bit of a From Dusk Till Dawn situation.
Okay.
Where it's the beginning. There's no indication of this stuff at the beginning. It starts.
Yeah. You think it's going one way, and then it like all hits you.
And then then it fairly quickly becomes the supernatural element becomes clear.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
It was enjoyable. It was pretty good. It's quite self-aware. It starts with this like 1940s horror movie title card comes up, exaggerated music, that fades away. It stars Kurt Russell's son, actually, as one of
really?
the characters.
I didn't know he acted.
I didn't either, but he's in that. He does a good Kurt Russell impression.
Can't go wrong with Kurt Russell.
can't.
So.
I was thinking recently about how a lot of kind of actors that you don't really recognise or see before,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
turn out to be like the children of famous actors. Like in Stranger Things season 3, the Robin, Steve's friend, she's the daughter of Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke.
Really?
And it makes
Yeah.
sense now because it's like her name's something Hawke. And I'm struggling to think of another example now, but I've seen that a few times in the past. Where
Scott Eastwood is
Clint
an
Eastwood's
actor.
son?
Yeah, he's in Suicide Squad.
I think he's in, correct me if I'm wrong, Gran Torino is like the
Is he?
priest, I
He
think?
must have been. Was he? I thought he must have been. No, Scott Eastwood's fairly young.
Is he a lot younger than
So
that?
who is he in?
But Clint Eastwood's old, dude.
Yeah, maybe he has another
don't know.
son. I don't know. But that's what Scott Eastwood looks a lot
Yeah,
like
yeah.
his
Who
dad.
is he in
He's just
Suicide Squad?
one of the soldiers.
Oh right.
Breakout role, though.
But yeah, that seems to happen.
Michael Douglas and Kirk Douglas.
Oh, yeah, Kiefer Sutherland, Donald Sutherland.
Yeah, I always forget.
Who is
about
the older Douglas? Because he's in Paths of Glory, isn't he?
It's Kirk Douglas,
Is it
right?
Kirk? I thought it was
yeah,
Kirk Douglas.
Yeah, he's the older one. Because
Yeah.
he is in Past Glory, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, of course, Michael Douglas is there.
So it tends to happen a lot, which is, I guess is unsurprising because if you're a famous Hollywood
Well, if you think,
celebrity,
oh, my
and it's-
dad's like a
and it's worked out
billionaire
well, yeah,
actor,
you're
you know,
probably
maybe
good.
I'll try.
Will and Jaden Smith,
that's true.
Yeah.
classic duo. I was actually
Yeah.
thinking, have you seen this Will Smith film coming out, Gemini Man?
Oh, I saw a trailer for that.
Where
Yeah.
they clone Will Smith to kill Will Smith.
It looks so
Oh, really?
bad.
Yeah.
Is that the one where they've de-aged?
Have de-aged him. If ever there was a time where it would be appropriate to cast
I know.
Jaden Smith alongside his
Yeah.
dad.
It looks like a kind of bad, loopery kind of story.
Did you ever see the Ang Lee Hulk?
I have ages ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I am fairly sure Gemini Man is an Ang Lee film.
Right.
Where
Yeah.
he's probably going to take a really silly concept and maybe give it some gravitas, because that's what he tried to do.
And
with
we,
Hulk.
we all know Will
which
Smith
was-
is the most versatile actor about, so...
Well, Will Smith's one of those actors now. It's really like his career, he's successful, but really he hasn't. he hasn't
Aladdin
really
made
had.
$1 billion.
Yeah, but he
didn't
hasn't
it?
had a lot of hits recently,
Yeah.
and Suicide Squad and like.
He's been picking the wrong films recently, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
To be fair,
He had a choice, didn't he, between the New Independence Day
and Suicide
Squad. And
He
it's
chose
like-
Suicide. There's no winners
There's no.
there.
They're
no
both pretty
one
bad
there,
options. Yeah.
He's still, like, Aladdin made $1 billion, even if critically... I think it did alright critically, actually.
Yeah,
but,
actually,
like,
but it was one of those ones that people said like wasn't as bad as
I don't know
thought.
if we can
like,
say-
it wasn't good, but it wasn't as
even
bad.
if personally we don't think he's necessarily on the best path, like...
I'm sure Will
Dollars.
Smith's
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
okay.
And it's not like
Yeah,
it's not
but-
like he really needs the parts or
Nah,
he's
not
got
really.
enough to last.
He's done his...
He could have stopped at the Fresh Prince
Yeah.
and he'd have enough.
Yeah.
They could reboot that and have Will Smith as Uncle Phil.
Oh.
I think that's that's what the world
Well,
wants.
Netflix probably get on that, won't they? But,
Except he would be Uncle Will. Soft reboot.
we're going to quickly talk about The Boys, I think, which recently came out on Amazon Prime. Just to sum up what it is, it's a bit of a weird title. I don't know if you guys talk
Yeah,
about it.
Boys.
I thought for the type of show it is, it's a very odd title.
Yeah. It's based on a comic, so it's based off of this writer's...
Boys.
Yeah, the same name, The Boys,
Based-
by Garth Ennis, or Enos, I don't know how you pronounce it. He's like famous for like doing kind of like gritty, over the top,
Filth.
dark filth. Yeah,
Yeah.
like he did a long Punisher run and
Preacher.
Preacher,
Also
which
on
that's
Amazon.
another
Yeah,
show,
forgot
but I
about that.
don't know how involved he was with that show. The Boys seems to, at least tonally, fit into his kind of style. So it's about the kind of world where there's Justice League, like kind of superhero team, but it's like they're very like corporate.
Yeah, kind of like corporately owned and.
Yeah, so it's kind of like all about making an image of like what you think of a superhero, but then it kind of reveals the like dark shadiness going on behind the scenes. And then it also kind of focuses on like just people living in that, how people would live in that world, and the superheroes affect their lives. So
Yeah, and you mentioned before that it's quite clearly like Watchmen influence.
yeah,
It takes a lot of those kind of things of like, what would it actually be like to have these weird guys going around?
yeah.
Yeah, there's that sense in the deconstruction of it.
I
In
think
terms of the tone,
it's more satirical than
it's
Watchmen.
yeah.
so,
That's
but-
why it made me think of Kick-Ass. It felt a lot like
yeah, I
Kick-Ass
guess
to me.
tonally
Yeah, that's
Kick-Ass
interesting.
maybe.
And one thing I was thinking recently that's kind of they do with Watchmen as well, where each of the kind of main heroes is kind of a parallel of a well-known one. So you've got Homelander being Superman. That one's kind of obvious.
Yeah.
You've got I think Queen Maeve, that's her
Yeah,
name.
she's
who's
Wonder
basically
Woman.
Yes.
Wonder Woman.
The Deep, Aquaman.
A-Train is
Flash.
The Flash, yeah, and I don't know who.
Black Noir,
I don't know who
kind
Black-
of Batman, but like
He's
Maybe
closest to
Batman.
Batman.
Yeah.
he's more of a joke character, Black Noir.
Yeah,
like,
well, and something I thought that was funny was they're talking about in in one scene how they need to have a superhero to appeal to like the inner city like black demographic, and it's a guy called like Nubian Prince.
Yes.
And I thought that was quite funny
Trying to
because
sell him to Baltimore.
yeah, so it's like that was kind of quite a clever
Yeah.
thing, like because Black Panther was massively marketed in that regard. Like,
Well, that's what still the character Stillwell, the organizer of this vice president of this
Stillwell.
corporation.
yeah.
When she's pitching Nubian Prince, the mayor of Baltimore, saying that he appeals to your demographic, but Caucasians like him as well because he's not too militant. It's about how commercialized, how manufactured all the images are of these superheroes. So they mention at one point assigning each one to a different town is the idea.
Yeah. And they get bidded on, kind of, because they say that they're also like aiming for him to get picked up by Atlanta or something. So.
Just to quickly, in case people like don't have a clue what we're talking about, basically it follows like this character Huey, who we're not gonna spoil the. We'll spoil the beginning, but like we're not gonna.
You can say the premise.
Yeah, we're gonna say the premise. We're not gonna tell the ending or anything because it's pretty new and Matthew hasn't even seen it all. This guy Huey, his girlfriend gets not run over,
kind of
vaporized by the Flash character who's called A-Train. Obviously, just runs through her because he's going so fast, and if you're going at that speed,
and she just kind of explodes.
Explodes in front of him, and then he's obviously traumatized by that. Well, he ends up hating A-Train. I think he was like a fan of them as like a kid or something because you see his room and he's got all these posters and toys. I think even a toy of A-Train.
He has a Funko Pop of A-Train.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, does he? I didn't even notice that.
Oh, that's world building.
I wonder how much they had to pay for that license.
Well, they're probably just going to sell those Funko Pops.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That's true.
Makes money
It's
itself.
the
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, he ends up hating them. And then also, the other main character is this character called Starlight, who's this woman who, like, her whole life she has powers and she's been training to want to be in the team, which is called the Seven, which is like 7 of these superheroes.
Yeah. Basically the Justice League.
Which we have already kind of explained those characters. They're looking for a new 7th member and she like is interviewing for it and she ends up getting it. But it's kind of interesting how it follows both storylines of like showing how like Starlight wanted that, but then she kind of sees the dark underbelly of what it is.
Yeah, well, because she's kind of the character where you see like the inner workings of like how kind of dickish the heroes are.
Yeah, whereas
but she's like young and like not jaded, and so she's like.
Whereas Huey starts hating them, and then as it progresses, is more favourable.
I thought that was kind of interesting because I've actually heard a lot of people. I don't know if you've read the comic, Ben.
I haven't. No.
But I've heard quite a lot of people saying online that they prefer the show.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Because it's a lot more. The characters are a lot less cartoonish.
Yeah,
I can't imagine that.
Like apparently the extent to how evil they are in the comic is just absurd.
Yeah,
like it's just over the top, like
he really likes
screaming the N-word. Like I've seen a little picture. Like
he loves gratuitous violence, sexual assault and slurs.
Yeah,
as many slurs as you can fit.
I mean, the show has all of those except slurs, really. But like
somebody said like every Garth Ennis thing has rape in it. Like it's just like one of his like fundamental plot devices. But
I think
not that like, but not that.
I think it was
not
done
to criticize him because the show does keep a lot of his key themes, which I recognise from. I've read his Punisher run, and the more.
I don't think it does them distastefully either. Like
no, I think it's I wouldn't like it to be any more gratuitous. I think the level of the show is just about perfect. It's, there is.
It seems like they found that balance.
Yeah, it's not.
Doesn't feel like it's just gratuitous, just for the sake of it. Like,
but I guess it is. If you're easily put off by gratuitous things, it's probably not a show you should watch. Yeah. But like, if any of this sounds interesting at all, it's definitely worth checking out. So I think we'll leave the boys at that for now, anyway, and maybe we'll come back to
Can't
it
really say
when
much more
Matthew's
about
finished it.
Also, a quick point actually before we go on, I'd like to say that Carl Urban is great in it as Billy Butcher, kind of the leader of this group of vigilantes. But I have one issue, and that's that his Cockney accent is not very good. You can tell he's a Kiwi. the way he says certain words.
I wasn't sure if he was trying to be New Zealand or...
He's trying to be English.
The character is English.
And that's the thing. It's like when he says certain words, like I noticed when he says plastic, he says plastic. Like you get that New Zealand kind of like.
Yeah, it's a bit strange.
So but apart from that, he's great. You know, he's
also, one thing before actually, I know, so we're gonna move on, but Simon Pegg is in there.
Oh yeah.
I was just wondering what your opinions of him in it were.
Yeah, well, I like the because have you heard the reason they kind of
apparently
put him in?
Huey's design at least was based
visually
off of
in the comics.
Simon Pegg, but obviously Simon Pegg's pretty old now, so he plays Huey's dad, which is kind of a nice little Easter.
I enjoy seeing Simon Pegg any time, but I just think it's very jarring to hear him do an
American accent.
It's not even bad. It's just
it's
jarring.
just because you're so used to hearing Simon Pegg.
I mean, like I'm sure we've all seen Edgar Wright's Cornetto films,
or just
loads and loads of times.
Yeah.
So to see
Simon Pegg, it's the first time I've seen him do an accent, and I'm like,
and that's,
what?
It's like you say, it's not a bad accent. It's just seeing him do it.
I went into the show knowing nothing about it, and he just kind of turned up. I just saw him on the screen, and he was doing an American accent. I was like, what?
And he's a very minor character.
Yeah, he is, and he's good in it.
Yeah.
But it is jarring, yeah.
Yeah, but I thought it was a nice way of kind of like including him, like he's too old to do the part, but giving him a little bit of, like a tribute to him almost. That was kind of a nice way of doing it.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we'll move on to what we said would be the main topic, which is a new film that we've all seen recently, Spider-Man Far From Home. I don't think... Maybe I briefly talked about it with Ben once, but I've definitely not talked about it with you, Matthew, so...
No, I don't think so.
What were your opinions of it?
Yeah, I
guess we'll give our brief... generals and then maybe spoilers and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those films that you can't really talk about it much without spoilers because there's kind of a major point.
Yeah, but we could maybe...
Yeah.
We can talk around it.
Yeah.
We could say spoilers when we're gonna talk about the main things. So.
Yeah,
if you just briefly sum up your opinion.
I enjoyed it. I think I liked it more than Homecoming, but... To be honest, it's been such a long time since I've only saw Homecoming once in the cinema.
Oh, okay.
And it's been such a while that I can't say I remember, but I feel like I enjoyed it a bit more. Yeah, I like the. To be honest, my favorite part of it is the kind of high school aspect because we've said a lot in the past about how like the best Marvel films are the ones which kind of have their own style to them.
Yeah.
And I like that aspect of it where it feels kind of like a teen comedy, like coming of age thing.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a fun part of it. I think that the action is a bit subpar, especially in this one. It's not bad, but it just feels a bit like I
like the ending scene. We'll go into that later. Yeah. The big action thing at the end. I mean, a superhero film.
But I mean, compared to something where you've got some great fight scenes in like the Avengers and stuff, it's definitely not at that level. Like it's fine.
I think I'd
say that's probably the weakest part. Like the actual when he goes into like battle mode. Like I actually enjoy it more when he's just Peter Parker, to be honest. But overall, I enjoyed it, and actually it was a good kind of transitioning on from Endgame and the previous kind of stage. It felt... Yeah. I was worried. I thought they might, feel a bit lacking, but they actually seem to have, taken Endgame and just everything there. And it feels...
I think I just give my brief opinion. It is good and it's fine, but I thought it was a bit lacking. I like the second half of this film a lot. But the first half is just kind of by the numbers. There's not a lot.
Yeah.
You're waiting for a specific thing to happen if you know anything about the comics anyway.
Yeah.
Which we'll explain later. But it just kind of felt like wasted the first half of the film. You said you liked all the teen drama stuff, but I thought that was done way better in Homecoming.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, the whole plot about him... I prefer it when Spider-Man's in New York, I think, as well. The whole travelling thing was a bit, I don't know.
It felt a bit like it was kind of for marketing purposes.
Maybe,
it's like we can shoot, like, have a shot of, like, London.
Have these set pieces.
And, that kind of thing. Not that it was, like, a detriment to the film.
But I think the core of the film is good. Like, I like Peter and Ned's relationship, and there's some funny moments there. I didn't really like this new teacher character they added, which... It's by J.B. Smoove, who's from Curb Your Enthusiasm. Yeah. And I really like him in that show. Yeah. But I felt he was just kind of there, and he didn't really have any funny lines in this film.
Well, that had me wondering because apparently after Hannibal Buress did, when he sent his his body double to the premiere, that really annoyed Disney, and they didn't invite him back. So I feel like
Hannibal would have been.
I feel like that would have been Hannibal's part, and they just decided we need another guy,
Ben, what did you think overall?
I agree with you, Sean. I like the second half significantly more than the first half. You said the first half was by the numbers.
Yeah.
And it is, but it's by the numbers for a different kind of film. It's got all the teen comedy stuff that Matthew, you said you like. The first half, it's this weird comedy like National Lampoon's Spider Vacation. He's going all around Europe and there's like all these funny slapstick humour ends up in these funny sketches, and then there's a big action sequence in each city that isn't really interesting because it's just a giant dust monster or a giant water monster. I wasn't really interested at all in the first half.
No, I agree with that.
But by the end, it won me over overall. Once the storyline becomes more focused, the first half, it's quite meandering, the first half, I would say. It's just going from place to place while stuff happens. Once there is a clear threat and a clear focus.
Shall we just say spoilers now?
Yeah, okay, so overall, I think we liked it. Matthew maybe more than me and Ben. I'd still recommend it. Yeah, overall...
Pretty good.
Yeah, but we're going to go into spoilers
Nothing amazing.
now. Yeah, nothing amazing there. But yeah, so spoilers, you can continue from that, Ben, I guess.
Spoilers, once Mysterio is revealed as the villain...
which everyone knew was going to happen.
Anyone who's seen a Spider-Man cartoon...
Or just,
is familiar with the character.
You played a game, watched the comics.
Although this is why the first half feels redundant, because a large portion of the audience will know who the villain is.
It's like if they just gave us another origin story. Like everyone knows Spider-Man's origin story.
Exactly. It feels redundant because some films, you benefit from watching them again when you know the twist, whereas Far From Home has even less rewatch value because you know the twist the first time. Yeah,
that's what I liked about Homecoming is the twist in that film is really good. Like I didn't expect Michael Keaton to be Liz's dad. Yeah, so that whole scene and that limo drive scene was like really tense.
Yeah, I really like that.
And I liked it the second time I watched it as well.
I was wondering if it was kind of the Mysterio thing was... Were they intentionally trying to recapture that thing of, they had this moment in the first film everyone loved of that kind of reveal. Is that what they were trying to do, but it didn't really work? Because, like you say, anyone who's read, has a vague idea about Spider-Man really knows Mysterio is a villain.
Yeah.
But having said that, I was looking at some discussion threads and stuff online, and I was surprised to see a decent amount of people saying, "Oh, well, I didn't see that coming." So maybe it's we're taking it for granted.
It's true. Not everyone will know.
Yeah,
I think I definitely wouldn't say this if superhero films weren't what they are, and especially Marvel films or MCU films. This film made $1 billion. A lot of these films make around that amount of money, and obviously not every person is going to know the entire Spider-Man villain gallery or whatever, but I'd expect most people to know.
Yeah, and even people who don't, probably will have a friend who will say to them, "Oh, Mysterio's a bad guy." Yeah. So that I agree with Ben. That's the thing. It felt like because it holds off on doing that reveal, and you basically know it's coming. It feels redundant. Yeah.
For it to happen.
I actually didn't like the scene where he does his reveal either.
It's just a massive exposition.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people say that they really like.
I liked it because they brought back. I liked some of the characters they brought back.
Yeah, it was interesting. The guy,
the box of scraps guy.
That made me laugh as well. I'm surprised they even showed Obadiah Stane again in a Marvel
stuff
film,
like that. I like that aspect of it.
He was very exposition-y. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But...
Also, it's yet another villain who was created by Tony Stark, and everyone pretends that he's the ultimate hero of the universe. The whole film's on mourning Tony Stark when the man is scum. It's yet another problem created by Tony Stark.
Yeah, I have to say, as soon as
Ultron,
soon as they kind of did that thing about...
I'm glad he's dead.
Yeah, as soon as they did that thing of Tony Stark giving, leaving, what was it? Was it those glasses?
The glasses.
To Peter, passing on the thing. I was okay, I can see where this is going. Mysterio wants to be the new Tony Stark. I felt like that was... As soon as I saw that kind of, symbolism of the glasses, I was like, well, I can see where this is going.
I like that scene as the coach, where he has the glasses. And then he gets that, drone to, fire on it. I thought that was a funny scene. Early on, because we were saying early on the film wasn't great. Yeah. But that scene I liked.
Yeah, that was entertaining, yeah.
But yeah, I think after that bar scene, anyway, the film does pick up, and there's some, really good, Spider-Man moments.
I like the London stuff a lot.
The London stuff was
the London scene,
the best
climax of the film.
The scene with Mysterio and that augmented reality, Barf or whatever it's called. I think Barf was the acronym that pissed him off.
Oh yeah,
Tony
that's
Stark
right.
called it Barf or something.
right.
His hologram projection.
Oh, right.
But there's like it looks like it's from the comics or like a cartoon or something where it's Mysterio doing all this.
Or is it when he's having the vision, when he's kind of
There's a wacky shit.
Yeah.
That was
going on
really
there.
good. That was very
that's
creative.
like if you like Spider-Man, like that scene is.
Yeah,
maybe
and I was
worth it,
glad they
but-
did something like that because it's like with Doctor Strange, it was
Yeah,
like
that's-
having
yeah.
a character like that is like you have the opportunity to do some really cool vision.
I like Mysterio as a villain because he's not a fighty character.
No.
You have to be more creative with how he fights and his powers.
that's true.
So he uses these drones and the holograms, and I thought that was quite creative.
Yeah, I like Mysterio a lot. I just feel he was kind of wasted in the first half because you know who he's going to turn out to be. But once he does turn into that character, like Jake Gyllenhaal did like a really good job playing like a kind of bad guy, and
the reason I actually quite liked that his reveal scene is kind of his energy. Like I agree that it's a big
I think that's
exposition
why
dump,
people
but
liked
he
it,
kind of like sells it.
It's
enough.
it's exactly what I was going to say. He sells the character when you see how happy he is to have got his glasses.
Yeah.
There's a real 180 in the character, which he does.
Yeah.
He does sell. And I enjoy all the behind the scenes stuff with him and his team when he's like calibrating his drones and stuff.
Yeah. That's interesting.
And he's reading
thought
from
that
the
was
script.
good. He's got the
I
script.
like that. Yeah,
And he's getting like really pissed off.
Yeah.
When something goes wrong.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of clever.
And he wins.
Well, yeah, it's true. He
wins.
does, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, if we go right to the end,
yeah,
it's like
to the end
because he releases the video.
He releases his edited video where Peter Parker's incredibly poor choice of words.
yeah.
Say something like execute all of them or something. And then
Oh yeah.
I remember
that comes back
Execute
to bite him.
Order 66.
when he first I remember thinking when he
I
first said
said
that
that,
line,
yeah.
he's like execute
I was like,
them.
what?
It's like why would you phrase it like that?
But I think that is an interesting thing going forward. What I liked was the last scene just in New York as well. It's like, oh, that's what I want out of the next film, just him swinging about New York. And then this plot line of everyone knowing.
Everyone knows who he is.
Yeah.
J.K. Simmons makes an appearance.
That was
I'm
the
sure
Probably the best part
of
Much
the film
the
for me.
euphoria
Yeah.
of audiences all over the world.
You know, people being sad about Robert Downey Jr. dying as Iron Man, you know.
Honestly,
The
like
best adapted character was J. Jonah
Jonah
Jameson.
yeah, the
J.K.
casting
Simmons,
people at Marvel know that you can't outdo J.K.
Yeah.
Simmons.
So
That's interesting. If they make a third, it's a bit up in the air of the third film's happening because of Sony and Marvel.
Oh, was there only two contracted or something? Or
Basically, the rumor is that if this film made $1 billion, which it did, so they'll make a third one.
I would have
So
thought so.
hopefully there is, but there was a while where it wasn't quite $1 billion. It was like, oh, they're actually gonna make another one. But it'd be dumb not to. But Sony they're making a Morbius film that no one wants.
Jared Leto,
Wait, who's Morbius?
the vampire.
Because everyone
I
wants
don't even know
to.
him.
Do you
Everyone.
remember that guy? He was a
the
vampire.
90s cartoon. Did you watch that?
Do you remember in the
bit.
cartoon he couldn't suck blood, so he sucked plasma out of people with his hands. He's a vampire that Spider-Man fights. I don't know.
Who
Jared
knows?
Leto.
And Jared Leto's playing it. Wow.
And Venom too.
Just from hit
is
to
what
hit when it
Sony-
comes to superhero films.
Yeah. My theory is anyway, because this third film probably gonna happen. J. Jonah Jameson, I think, will be involved in this kind of marketing against Spider-Man. I think that's pretty obvious. But I think they might do Kraven the Hunter or something.
Do you think?
They haven't done him before.
Because in the comics, almost Smythe. Because in the comics, Smythe makes
He
these
builds
spider
the spider
hunters,
slayers, doesn't he?
or spider slayers.
Just like robot thing.
And J. Jonah Jameson hires Smythe
That's right,
originally.
he funds him or something.
Yeah.
Doesn't he? I vaguely. Which seems like an overreaction.
Yeah. So maybe we'll get Kraven and Smythe. I don't know.
Alistair Smythe.
If they're doing characters that haven't done as well, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, they're quite good at modernising old cheesy characters. They've done that well, like they did it well with Mysterio. But I do feel like Kraven's a bit ridiculous because
if he's in that
he's just
tiger
like
costume.
yeah, he's like
maybe,
he's like just a huntsman who uses a machete and
Now,
wears.
sometimes he fires lasers out his nipples.
yeah, that's
Have you seen the,
No.
you read
They're like
that
the
one?
Stan Lee
In the
ones,
Stan
yeah.
Lee era, he fires lasers out his nipples.
Oh, right.
Inexplicably. Maybe there's a reason for that.
It's
I
out of the
don't know.
eyes of his tiger.
Is that
thing.
what it is?
But it looks
'cause he
like
wears
it's
a tiger.
It looks like it's.
Oh, that makes sense. Because I never understood that power.
Yeah, it seems a bit out of character.
It's quite incongruous with the hunting theme, isn't it?
But that's my
He's
theory
rifle.
for the next one if they do it.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting because Spider-Man, like up there with Batman, has some of the most famous comic book villains.
Yeah.
So I think what everyone's been wondering for a while now, since like the new Spider-Man, is are they at some point gonna do the Marvel MCU version of like the Green Goblin or something?
I don't think they would, because they've
Not yet.
avoided any connection to the apart from J.K. Simmons. They've
That's
avoided any connection to both the Sam Raimi films, the Tobey Maguire ones, and the less successful Amazing Spider-Man ones.
Yeah.
And
which
both
they
of
did the
them-
Green Goblin again.
They
right?
did the Green Goblin in that. They went straight to Harry Osborn in the Amazing Spider-Man,
Yeah, I'd
which
not
mixed
even
things up
seen the
a
second
bit.
one of those, but
But I don't think Marvel would do the Green Goblin.
Yeah,
I feel they might at some point
have to let
have
it
Norman
lie.
Osborn as like an overarching villain of some
If
sort.
they keep going with Spider-Man, I don't know what the long-term future is for Spider-Man.
It makes me think that they might, in a similar vein to how they did Thanos, because Green Goblin
Yeah.
is so well known, and like you say, it's been in recent memory. They build it up, and then maybe they finally.
There's a fairly recent storyline in the comic. Well, I say recent. It might even be 5 or 6 years ago now, called like Dark Reign, where Norman Osborn he like becomes head of the Avengers or something. He becomes head of like this big thing in like the Marvel world. Anyway, it's very interesting because like he's kind of the most powerful person in like the world. And he's kind of controlling the media and everything.
Yeah.
And then eventually he just goes full psycho and like Green Goblin's out and stuff, and then it all kind of crumbles.
Well, considering how significant kind of Norman Osborn is to like the kind of character and stuff, it seems like they build him up a bit. They'll if they were to do it, they'd introduce him maybe in a smaller part with a famous actor playing him, and then
It's hard to top Willem Dafoe.
To be fair, Willem Dafoe was great, and then maybe they'll build him up, and then he'll get his own big Spider-Man film where he's the villain. But who knows?
Yeah, if they did Norman Osborn on that scale, if they did an Avengers scale Norman Osborn, that would differentiate it enough from Willem Dafoe or Dane DeHaan.
I mean, you just can't top some of those Sam Raimi lines, Like,
Classic.
well, it's not even what he says when it's like, "You're out, Garvey, out of your mind."
Yeah.
Maybe I agree they won't be doing him anytime soon, at least.
Yeah, it would be because it's too it's too recent in public memory, isn't it?
They are building towards some sort of Sinister Six thing. Though,
well, actually, I was just remembering now. I completely forgot about this, but at the end of Spider-Man: Homecoming,
Scorpion.
they hint at the Scorpion.
And the Shocker is also in it.
Oh yeah, I forget.
Oh, is he?
He's like
It's
a
like Donald
minor-
Glover.
No,
he just buys it or something.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, he's
He's the Prowler.
Oh yeah, his character
Miles
is the
Morales'
same name
It's
as
Miles Morales' his uncle.
Yeah.
Who's in Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
It's, his uncle Aaron is the Donald Glover character in Spider-Man Homecoming.
But overall,
So like them to go.
In Enter the Spider-Verse, he was played by Mahershala Ali.
Yeah.
I forgot about that, but
he was. Yeah.
So you would have thought that introducing someone who's well known like Donald Glover as a minor character like that, like they wouldn't do that unless they were going to do something, right? Like they're going to.
It's tough to tell.
He's a busy man. It's hard to.
I mean, that's true.
Tough to tell.
He's got his own show, obviously, so he's...
That's been renewed for like 2 more seasons.
Yeah, so it's not like he has a lack of things to do, yeah.
Far From Home, we briefly talked about the London scene. I think that was the best, apart from that little Mysterio dream thing, was probably the best part of the film. Like, you were saying you didn't like the action, but I actually really liked the action in the London.
In that particular
scene.
Yeah,
I don't mind it when he's fighting like the drones at the end, but all the stuff before is like... when he's just fighting like the cloud monster and the water monster, that feels very kind of redundant.
No, that was I didn't care. Night Monkey or whatever he's called.
Night Monkey, I forgot that.
Yeah. Especially because I find when you have big like elemental villains like that, there's not really any way of doing like visceral like feeling fight, or he like pulls like some sort of thing down onto it and swings around a bit, but you don't really feel any physicality. And
like in those scenes, Mysterio is just like doing laser things.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's
kind
true.
of whatever.
Just generic kind of green lasers.
Yeah. And I like that hallway sequence as well. Where Spider-Man's like he's getting to Mysterio, but there's all those drones in the way. And stuff.
That was good. Yeah, I
think when you put Spider-Man in either
they make the spider sense an actual power.
The Peter Tingle,
There are scenes where he actually has a real emphasis on his.
I can't remember in the other films had they ever done the spider sense as much.
He has it, but it's never been a focus. It's never been crucial. Whereas in this, he needs it to beat the drones.
It's quite a big plot line in the film. Yeah,
it's essential to beat the
I
villain.
assume
I like that.
After this film, he probably will just have spider sense.
Yeah,
I assume.
I mean, because they've had little bits of it. Because I remember in Infinity War when like Thanos' ship arrives, you can select it.
Yeah.
So, but
it's never been visualized.
In Infinity War, you see it's like
his hair
gets goosebumps. Or
yeah.
Maybe he's just getting goosebumps, but like
yeah.
But yeah, no, I think like when you put him in a corridor, like an enclosed. Well, I don't know, he's Spider-Man. He should be swinging about. But like that was done well anyway. I thought we haven't even talked about Nick Fury in this film.
Well, that's what I was going to say. This might take us onto a broader discussion about the MCU.
Yeah,
but going from a twist that fell flat to a twist that I genuinely enjoyed was the Skrull reveal.
Yes.
Where Nick Fury.
Oh right. Well, at the end, at the very end.
Are you saying you didn't like that?
No, I did like that.
Oh,
I thought that was actually good. That was actually good.
What was the one that fell flat then?
Mysterio.
Oh right, yeah.
In the sense that we knew that was going to happen. What I didn't know was going to happen was Nick Fury and Maria Hill. Is it?
Yeah,
Maria Hill were Skrulls. Nick Fury being Ben Mendelsohn, Talos from Captain Marvel.
Yeah, kind of.
So I thought that was oh wow! I did not expect that.
Yeah, at first I thought that was...
Nick Fury's acting quite... This is one that actually does benefit from a rewatch. Because Nick Fury's acting a bit out of character.
Yeah, I wasn't... At first I thought like, oh, he's... I don't know if it's just the sound actor just phoning it in.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Is he phoning it in a bit here?
Because like, I didn't actually enjoy him. I get the twist and it kind of makes sense, but like, I didn't actually enjoy him that much in this film.
No, but I think it makes sense. Yeah. Because
he had a couple of funny lines, but apart from that, he didn't add much.
Yeah. And then you see the real Nick Fury.
Yeah, I don't...
What I'm wondering is, what's the implications of that?
I have absolutely no idea.
I was very confused.
Fantastic Four. Fingers crossed. Oh, well, it's been confirmed, hasn't it?
Yeah,
well, when I first watched, that was before it was confirmed, so...
What was I saying? At first, I was very confused by that twist, because first, I haven't even seen Captain Marvel. I know Nick Fury and the Skrulls are both in that.
Oh, right, that will leave you hanging if you
Yeah.
And then, I thought it was alluding to Secret Invasion, which in the comics...
At first, I thought that.
Yeah,
but
then I read up...
As soon as he transformed, I was like, this is going to be a sinister ending, and it's going to be like, oh my god, we're getting Secret Invasion.
But then I read up on it, and that doesn't seem to be what people think. They think it's like... I don't know fully what goes on with S.H.I.E.L.D. in the comics, but maybe at some point it disbands, or there's like another section of it called Sword, which is like Space Shield.
Okay.
So Nick Fury just like is like a space police or something. I don't know.
Well,
really,
actually,
but...
I was just thinking now, but because of he was a big part in Captain Marvel, maybe him being in space means that he'll play quite a significant role in the next Captain Marvel.
Oh yeah, that's confirmed as well. So
that seems like because obviously Captain Marvel, a lot of it took place on Earth, even though she's like a space superhero. So I feel like maybe with the next one,
I think this was about her learning who she was again.
Yeah. So I feel like with the next one, the only logical thing they could do is do more kind of space stuff.
Even in Endgame, like who the fuck knows what she's doing in space really? Because she turns up briefly on Earth a couple of times.
Yeah. Well, this is a kind of just another more general point about, I guess, the MCU. But
should we go on to like the future of it? Or...
Yeah. Why not?
Might as well.
Because
we're already practically there.
It's a good bridge.
We've summed up what we thought.
I was kind of disappointed in... Well, not disappointed because I didn't have expectations, but I didn't think Captain Marvel was that great, especially after kind of Avengers and stuff. It felt very much kind of like a step back, like a Phase 1 movie with a bit more generic plot. And
that's a fairly good way of putting it. I did like it, but Phase 1 movie is...
I haven't even seen the other in-between film, which was that second Ant-Man one.
Ant-Man the Wasp.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see
that. So like those two
I
films, I should probably watch them both to give an opinion, but they look kind of filler.
It felt like it.
Ant-Man and the Wasp was, and I say that as someone who loves the first
I liked that Ant-Man one, yeah. So
Captain Marvel, I wouldn't say it was filler.
And then not.
I mean,
it did bring genuinely new things into it, like Captain Marvel, the Skrull, and the Kree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like I should watch that because that is going to play a big part in the rest of things. But
and her role in Avengers Endgame felt a bit like they were forcing it in there. I always thought that just because. She appears out of nowhere and she saves the day. It's a bit of a like, oh yeah, well they need to include her because she's the next, part of the next phase. That's why it felt a little bit forced. The movie kind of we have to set this thread up now.
Did you like Brie Larson in that film? Because in Endgame,
I do.
I didn't especially like her, but she's not really in it much, so I can't really.
I like her. I think she's fine. I just don't think that the character's very interesting.
I think she hasn't been written too well.
About the character, based on
I only know what I saw in the film, and it wasn't a problem with her at all. Like she's fine. It's just I just thought the character's a bit boring. doesn't have a lot of personality. You know,
In
we
in
used to
Endgame,
quite
because she's not. It's not her film, like
Yeah.
especially. And I think they even filmed her bits before they filmed Captain Marvel's. Like
That makes sense,
She is just
yeah.
like a plot device in Endgame.
Yeah.
She's one of the most enthusiastic, which I like. When she's the one who really pushes to just go straight and get Thanos, and does.
Instead of going through his ship, she could have just gone through Thanos.
That's true.
Yeah, maybe.
I think also partly one of the reasons I don't like her film is her powers are just a bit too general.
It's like
so
Superman or
she
something.
she can glow and she can fly through stuff and she
Yeah.
can shoot beams. It's like, okay, yeah, but
They gotta give her some sort of
it
weakness
doesn't
or
it doesn't
something.
feel
I
specific
don't know.
enough. It just feels like she's just this generally powerful being. It's not as interesting as, you know, somebody who has a specific power, I think.
Yeah, but going on to the future of the MCU, the confirmed films are...
Oh yeah.
The next one is Black Widow, which is...
Oh, really?
Is that the next one?
The next one coming out.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
Which
right.
is not until February, I believe.
the ride never ends. So. I
Yeah.
didn't know that was the next one.
But it obviously is spoilers for Endgame, but we've already said spoilers a while ago. She dies, so... It's set before that, I assume.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Um,
sure it's good. It must be.
I think what people are thinking is it's her and there's this other new female character
Yeah,
who's
played
gonna
by Florence Pugh, who's the
from
main
Midsommar,
person
right?
in Midsommar.
Yeah, gonna be training her to be like the next Black Widow, essentially.
She's gonna be the bad
Is
guy.
she? Do
The bad guy.
Yeah,
you think so?
yeah, because it's gonna be that thing where it's like, they're training this new person to be like, you know, the prodigy, like, you know, taking it over, and she's gonna go
But
evil,
they've
and
con-
they're gonna have a female
They've
assassin.
Have they said her
confirmed
name?
Taskmaster's in it though, so I assume
Have they-
he'd be the
Really?
villain. But
Do we know that character's name? Who she's training?
No,
I
I don't
do
think
not
so.
know.
Because there is a second Black Widow.
There's
Really?
like a few,
Yeah.
right?
Is there
So,
a few? I
yeah.
know there's two.
Yeah.
I know. I get the vibe that she'll be a villain, but who knows? Because
Well, I think Taskmaster's definitely confirmed as like
Yeah.
a villain. I don't know who's. playing
it
him,
feels
but-
like when in a lot of these films, when they have a person with similar abilities, that tends to be the villain because it's like the opposite of them. Like
Yeah.
you get that in Iron Man 1 and
It's-
you know.
Oh, but I don't really
It's
like
not the
it when they
opposite. It's
do
just
that.
the
though.
same, and that's
Yeah.
one of the
Well,
problems.
yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I don't
And-
need to
and
see
Venom.
another Obadiah Stane.
In particular, with like Venom's another example where it's just
Black Panther.
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. that was
Literally,
bad, yeah.
in Black
Yeah,
Panther,
they
he
are
has
like the
exact
same thing,
suit and
With bad CGI.
Just a different color, like a little
So-
different.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, and it's quite
What's
a boring thing.
What's interesting for the image
Almost
they
got
showed
the
of
same.
Taskmaster is like
Is there a picture?
Is there a picture really?
it's like a concept art or something where they're like fighting. But
See, I'm out of the loop on this, so almost
he-
everything to do with Black Widow will be news to me.
yeah, so he has like a shield, this like cap shield and stuff like that.
Oh, really?
So
Yeah.
it's interesting because his whole thing is like he mimics
Copying,
people.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's quite interesting.
I always liked Taskmaster.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
And then so that one I think could be a pretty good film.
Yeah.
What was I saying? The other films. So then it's the Eternals.
Oh, I don't even know anything. What is that?
I don't even know what that film is.
I've never
I
even
don't-
heard of the Eternals.
I know the
No,
cast
I-
looks pretty good because they got Angelina Jolie.
Is that the one with Keanu Reeves?
Is Keanu Reeves in the
I
film?
thought so.
They said that they were
I
trying
thought
to
he
get
was
him
in
as
the
a role, or
Eternals.
some sort of role. I don't remember.
He's not in that one, I
He's
don't
not in the
think. They've
Eternals.
got Kumail from like Silicon Valley and The Big Sick, and I like Kumail, so he could be funny in it. Oh, I've completely forgotten the rest of the cast, but it's quite a big cast.
So it's a team, like it's a team.
I
thing.
don't understand. I tried to look up what the Eternals were, and I'm still confused because they're like
Is it like the New Gods? You know, the Jack Kirby DC
it's something.
one.
Yeah, there's something. I don't think those are the Eternals. Those are like they're called like the Ancient Ones or something. From what I gathered, they're like on Earth or different parts of the universe, and at different points in time, and they all have like different
Oh,
powers or some like thing. And I don't
and
really
they
understand.
come together to defeat a great evil.
I don't understand what this film is. I'm not sure how it's gonna work and how people are gonna
Yeah.
get behind it, other than the cast.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things like they can make any. Like,
'Cause
Marvel seems to be able to make anything work.
It might be things like setting.
Well, you say they can make anything work. Is the Eternals taking the place of what was planned to be the Inhumans, which was going to be a film about about a superpowered royal family, but then was then turned into a flop television show, and
Yeah.
probably Marvel's big failure, really.
Yeah.
I couldn't even see a film that Inhumans working that well either. You know, we said this about Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's the thing.
yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy showed that you don't need to be like they don't need to be known for them to pull it
The
off.
problem is with that though is like it's not such a big scale scale thing, Guardians of the Galaxy. Maybe at the time it was just like, oh, space, they hadn't done that yet. Except Thor a little bit. But it was like the first big space
First
thing.
proper space one, yeah.
But this one, like, people theorising that they're like at different points in time or whatever. They're like planting the seeds for like how the Tesseract got to the Red Skull and stuff like that. It's like, what, do I need to know that? I don't know, but like...
I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not
we
as
had,
well.
We had quite a lot of films about the Infinity Gems.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't really want to hear any more about the Tesseract. I think that's fulfilled its
Well,
its
doesn't
use.
Loki have it though?
Yeah, well, people saying that's how.
He's
Loki's got his TV
They've
show.
confirmed the TV show is going to be
Yeah.
Loki from 2012. So
Yeah, well, because in Endgame when he teleports
he goes
away.
Okay.
We've
But
got the
it's-
Eternals.
Well, that's good because there was a rumor for a while that Tom Hiddleston would only be involved with his voice, and it would be like young
What?
Sheldon.
Oh, God.
So it'd be like young Loki with a voiceover with.
Yeah, I don't think anyone needs that. I think some point in 2012 there's Winter Soldier and Falcon
Oh yeah,
show, which could be good.
they're not particularly interesting, are they?
No. Also, isn't he just Captain America now? Like,
Well, the Falcon.
yeah.
That seemed to
guess
be the
so.
implication, didn't
Yeah,
it?
because maybe that's what the series is going to be.
It's strange how
about.
it's called Winter Soldier or Falcon and
Falcon
Winter
and
Soldier.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, how's he gonna? He's gonna use a shield and his wings.
That's what I was
Like,
wondering. Is he
yeah.
going to keep the wings?
Yeah,
or...
he has to keep the wings. You know,
Yeah.
that's his thing. Because he doesn't have any. He doesn't have super strength.
Oh, one confirmed. Yeah.
It's going to be.
I think that's one thing that could make him interested. Is like he's a more flawed Captain America because he's not a super.
You have a
soldier.
different. Yeah, you could probably do something interesting.
But then he has a
with the
wingsuit,
wings and
so,
the shield.
like,
Yeah, so
yeah.
he has a different power set. You could do something with that.
One interesting
Maybe.
thing about that series is Baron Zemo is going to be in it again.
Oh,
and I really
yeah.
liked him
Daniel
in Civil
Bruhl,
War.
yeah.
Apparently he's going to wear that pink sock thing as
Oh,
well.
really?
So.
Ooh. I always thought Baron Zemo got the harshest punishment out of any Marvel villain.
Why?
He has to just sit in a box forever and can
What,
only move for like 10 minutes a day.
Oh, he gets locked up.
Martin Freeman gives him a speech telling him I was going to infringe all his human rights.
Yeah.
He's like not even
You know,
that bad.
even Thanos gets away with death. Zemo gets a fate worse than death. And he was, like, I would say the first sympathetic Marvel villain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd agree.
I don't think he gets enough credit for that. Because Killmonger and Thanos, and even the Vulture, are held up as
Yeah.
examples. But I would say Zemo was the first one.
He's like
way
where the
back in
villain
Civil War.
started to get, apart from
Yes,
Loki,
he was
started
the
to get
turning
good.
point,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I'd agree with that.
So I'm happy to see him come back.
And
I don't know
then-
what he's going to do.
Who knows? What are the
Yeah.
other ones coming out? There's.
What shows or films?
I was going to just talk about films, but now we've mentioned shows. I
There
guess.
is.
There's Loki, like we said, which, you know, whatever. I don't really.
And oh my god,
Care
the
about
the
that
new
one.
one with Scarlet Witch and Vision.
One
which is called
Division.
WandaVision, which is just awful. What an awful title.
This is just
It's
me.
more Vision. It's more Vision. I say. Well, we're both big fans.
I like
Me
Vision,
and
yeah.
Matthew, me and you.
Yeah, I am not as big of a fan. I liked him in Age of Ultron.
Has some of the best dialogue in the MCU, in my opinion.
In Ultron, I liked him, and then after that, I didn't really care for him. Like in Infinity War, that whole scene in Scotland was the weakest part of the.
Well, why were they in
Film in life.
Scotland? That's my question.
Well, did you ever?
Cheap to film there, so
Did you notice?
that's probably why.
Did you notice that they're talking outside a kebab shop?
Yeah.
And did you notice that sign saying "We'll deep fry your kebab"?
No.
Well, that's why the Vision was in Scotland.
Cut in
Deep fried kebabs.
What does he eat? I don't.
I guess it wouldn't kill him because he's a robot. He could
Yeah.
take a deep fried kebab and no
Interesting.
cholesterol. Convert it to.
It's just such a.
to
It's
healing.
just such an odd name, though. WandaVision.
One word.
Yeah.
Not even Wonder.
And Vision.
And-
Also,
Vision.
that's set after Endgame, so.
Oh no.
Well,
Is it?
hang on. How's Vision alive?
Exactly, that's what I was just gonna say. How's he alive?
To be honest, I hate all these shows.
Yeah.
I hate Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for bringing Coulson back. I didn't even watch that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
Non-canon.
really didn't like. I tried the first like
I'm
6
not
episodes
interested.
and didn't like it.
Boycott Disney Plus.
One that's going to directly lead into the new Doctor Strange film, apparently. That show.
So I need to watch WandaVision so I can understand.
Yeah, no, I heard about
Is
that.
that- oh,
Scarlet-
no.
That's their tactic to get.
Scarlet Witch is going to be
Oh, guys,
in
you're
Doctor
you're
Strange.
ruining Marvel for me now.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm less enthusiastic than I was at the beginning.
So what are the other ones coming out then? Doctor Strange 2.
Let's focus on that then. It's what's it called? The Multiverse of Madness. Is it?
I think this
That's what
film.
it's good, yeah,
this
yeah.
is the next Marvel film that I'm actually quite interested in. I think.
I actually quite quite like Doctor Strange.
I like the character.
I thought compared to a lot of other Marvel films, it had its own kind of fun, unique thing.
I don't like the film that much.
I don't like the film that much.
I like him in
visually, it's really cool. You can't deny that.
Yeah, some great visuals.
Dormammu was alright, I guess. I didn't really care for Mads Mikkelsen.
Well, it's a massive, such a waste of Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
Could have been worse. He was originally going to be the villain in Thor 2.
Oh, really?
Should have been an even bigger waste.
With the elf guy.
Malekith.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Elf. So
you actually know the name of it. Right?
I know. I know my dark elves.
It's meant to be a horror, that one. Which I'm interested in. Doctor Strange 2.
Really?
Yeah, the director said like he wants to make a horror.
Well, it can't be that horror, can it?
Horror. Yeah, actually, I did see that.
It's gonna be like a 12 or PG-13.
Yeah, maybe there'll be some spooky bits.
That's quite good. That has me hopeful though, because I think Doctor Strange maybe suffered a bit because it was another origin one.
I feel like it's kind of paralleled to Iron Man 1 quite a lot. Except he wasn't quite as charismatic as Tony Stark. So.
Yeah.
I like him in Thor Ragnarok and
Infinity War and Endgame. Yeah, I liked him as a side character in these new ones.
Yeah, he's one of those ones who works well with other characters.
So if he's got Scarlet Witch, maybe they'll balance each other out a bit. I think people are thinking the villain's going to be Nightmare.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like Freddy Krueger, but like Scarecrow or something, I think, basically.
Oh.
He has his own like nightmare realm, or dream realm, something like that.
Like Freddy Krueger, yeah. Yeah, so that film I'm actually it sounds interesting from everything I've heard anyway.
Yeah.
They're starting to let directors do more stylistic things, so horror might work. Like Taika Waititi and James Gunn have their own styles, and Guardians and Thor Ragnarok. So I'm interested to see what this new guy can do in that. I think Shang-Chi.
Oh god, I forgot about that.
Which I think would have been Iron Fist, but, Netflix show, so... Probably not going to bring Iron Fist out now, are they now? So now it's Shang-Chi. Who I don't know anything about.
Shang-Chi?
No.
I don't either.
I know the Mandarin's going to be in it, though.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
The actual Mandarin.
Yeah.
So the real Mandarin.
Because they did that, I've not even seen it, that, one-shot, 10-minute thing.
I
haven't seen that.
Then they implied that basically there is a real Mandarin.
Yeah, basically.
Because there was such a terrible reaction to Ben Kingsley twist in Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
I would have been fine with that if
they had a better villain.
If they had
an as good villain to replace him with.
Yeah, but Ben Kingsley was
Ben Kingsley's a really charismatic, sinister terrorist leader. And then just
some guy who's left on a rooftop.
Aldrich Killian. He was...
good motivation.
The first of the Tony Stark created villains.
Yeah.
But certainly not the last.
It's called Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Oh,
so I assume that's Mandarin.
Oh, he has rings, doesn't he?
The Ten Rings were also the name of the terrorist organisation in one.
Oh, one, yeah. Because I thought that guy, when I first saw it 11 years ago, was the Mandarin, because he had the rings on.
And his
organisation. Well, just the terrorist dude.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
And his group's called the Ten Rings.
I think, was Shang-Chi at the end, it's like Doctor Strange or something?
No, because that was
Mordo.
Chiwetel Ejiofor's character.
Oh, okay. Alright, well then, I don't know, I'm kind of hoping this to be like a kung fu film or something.
It has to be.
Yeah.
That's his thing, isn't it?
I assume that's Shang-Chi's thing.
I think it is, yeah.
Just get a good Chinese director to make a Hong Kong movie.
No, I think
make it with
I think it is a Chinese director, yeah, an actor as well. Then I think there is gonna be. Is it Thor Love and Thunder?
Oh yeah.
Which I'm down for because Taika Waititi's back.
Yeah.
It's really it irks my sense of neatness in the sense that Thor gets 4 films. There are quite clearly trilogies, and then Thor gets it after a second.
Well, he had 2 shit ones. So.
That's true.
Yeah, he only got good later on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm glad. It's when I'm stacking my Blu-rays, it's really gonna tilt me.
I think this one people kind of know what the plot line's gonna be. It's based on a storyline. Oh yeah, because
Natalie Portman.
She's back. Yeah.
It's back.
And
Jane Foster.
Don't think anyone thought would happen really, but
no, yeah.
No, but if I were her and I'd seen.
The money.
Ragnarok. Well, the money's not bad, is it?
Yeah, but Ragnarok was
Ragnarok would...
Because I think Chris Hemsworth was bored of it until Ragnarok. He specifically, I think, said you should get Taika to do it.
Oh, right.
Interviews around the Age of Ultron time, he was really bored of just Thor and the whole Marvel films, I think. But because they reinvigorated his character, I think he's down for Ragnarok or in Endgame, how he's Fat Thor or whatever. So, yeah, I think the storyline is Jane Foster gets cancer or something.
Oh,
I was
really?
going to say she gets cancelled.
Maybe, I don't know.
So she's female Thor, basically.
So she's worthy.
Of carrying the hammer.
Yeah,
But, like,
When
how
she
does
has
that happen?
cancer. Well, Captain America's worthy.
No,
There's a big difference between Jane Foster and Captain America.
Well, how
I
does
don't
she
know.
go
I've
from
not
just
read the
how does she
comics,
go
so-
from just Jane Foster to female Thor? Though? Is there...
That's the question. But
Well,
I
we'll have to
don't know.
watch the film, won't we? I don't
Yeah.
know. But like,
So how does the cancer thing come into it?
so she has cancer, but when she picks up the hammer, she's fine. I think.
Oh, really?
When she stops using it, the cancer gets worse or something.
Oh,
It could be.
I mean,
that's interesting.
I
yeah.
thought it was strange for them to reveal.
It's coming out before Guardians
Jane Foster's
3.
Thor, but-
as well,
yeah.
which is- I was excited
That's
for
also
Thor being in that.
Yeah,
And I'm not
but
sure
it does
how
solve
much
the
he'll
power
be.
problem of the Guardians having one really powerful member.
But I really like the dynamic between him and like Star-Lord and like Rocket. And
Yeah.
I hope we'll get a glimpse of that either in Thor or Guardians
might,
3.
He might have like a small role in Guardians 3, where like he's not part of the whole film, but he shows up.
Or the other way around. I expect they'll be.
He'll be at the
Oh,
they'll be at
yeah.
the start of Thor 4.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I think that one is because I like Taika Waititi and I like Ragnarok so much.
Yeah,
That one
I
I'm
think-
definitely the most excited for.
That's the one I'm second most excited for.
Oh, what's the first one?
Fantastic Four.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I forgot they-
Finally,
they've announced.
finally, my guys.
That's not even in
Fantastic
Phase
Four.
4. Well, it might be. I don't know.
Well, it's coming.
It is coming.
Surely it has to be. It's not going to be that long in the future.
But they did that whole thing where they revealed all the new films.
Yeah. Well, was
so-
Fantastic Four not part of that? Was that?
Well, he said at the end, we haven't even had time to talk about Fantastic Four, the mutants.
Oh, it's
And,
coming.
Oh, yeah, I completely forgot about the X-Men as well. That's like that's
Yeah.
its whole own bit. This is the cascade.
Blade is
Yeah.
the last one,
Blade's-
actually.
Blade's the other
Which,
one.
I don't know how that's going to work.
That was me. That was the real wild card. I did not expect Blade
Yeah.
at all.
They
Yeah,
literally just
yeah.
did it because they wanted Mahershala Ali, and he's like, "What film do you want to do?" And he's like, "Blade." So
I feel bad. It is also the final nail in the coffin for the Netflix series, though.
Of the
I
Blade.
mean, that nail
No,
already.
no,
happened,
because
didn't
remember
it?
he was the villain in Luke Cage.
Of course, yeah.
Oh
yeah.
right, yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're really
Shame.
They're gonna
definitely
basically
not coming
pretend
back.
that they never happened.
That's an injustice.
Yeah.
But Blades, what do we think of that?
Well,
How's it gonna work as like a 12?
Yeah,
That's
that's
the
what I'm
question.
thinking. He cuts vampires up
Don't
and
have any
stuff.
sweet blood raves like in the
Maybe they'll do the
Late
the
series.
cartoon where like the vampires suck the plasma, out
plasma.
their
That's
fingers.
it. Yeah, he's gonna have plasma raves.
But then he like chops their heads off and stuff. So I don't like how they.
12A's, I guess, and pretty violent.
Yeah,
You can get away with a lot.
You can chop someone's head off, but not show the
like,
blood.
What was I?
Yeah.
So- but then
No,
the
I watched
vampires, like
something.
blood is like what they do. They suck blood. So.
Yeah. I can get away with a fair.
They could do it, but I
it's
feel
all
like-
it's always bloodless.
I feel like it would be most enjoyable as a kind of like hardcore,
Deadpool-y.
ultra-violent kind of.
Logan,
Because it's
Deadpool
kind of a
style.
cartoonish idea, isn't
Yeah.
it? He's a fucking half vampire, like.
Yeah.
So there's all of those, and then of course there's Guardians 3, which we mentioned.
That one, yeah. Other than Thor, I'm excited for that because I just really,
yeah, I love the.
I like
Guardians
James
of the
Gunn a lot as
Galaxy.
a director.
Yeah,
The
and
Guardians
it's nice that he's
films,
back.
Yeah,
You know?
where he should be.
There was a
Although
period-
he's making
yeah, well, he's
Suicide.
the Suicide
I
Squad.
completely forgot about that.
And he's doing that
Oh,
before
no.
Guardians
I know,
3, so Guardians 3 is
yeah.
a long way off.
Oh well,
So-
I'm sure at least we'll have I'm sure the Suicide Squad will be good as well.
I hope
Yeah.
it's good, yeah.
Do we know who's in that?
Didn't they confirm that like the only like person returning from the cast is Margot Robbie? I thought.
I'm not even sure she is because
she's in Birds of Prey.
Oh, Birds of
That
Prey.
other, yeah, that one with
I don't know.
Ewan McGregor.
That's Black
What?
Mask.
Ewan
Yeah.
McGregor?
He's
Okay.
Black Mask. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that there's a Hawkeye series coming out. Which
Oh yeah,
Is
that
that
as well.
one?
Yeah.
Hawkeye series.
I think that could be interesting because it's based off a comic run I've read a little bit of. It's kind of like about his everyday life, but he's Hawkeye, and then there's this character called Kate Bishop, which he's training to be like a new Hawkeye. So I'm assuming like both of Black Widow and Hawkeye are kind of phasing out by having like replacement
You think?
characters.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, Black Widow's like you
Yeah,
can't.
They phased her out quite firmly.
Yeah, and Hawkeye, like, how long is Jeremy Renner gonna? I don't know. Maybe he really wants to be Hawkeye,
Yeah,
but
no.
I don't know. I'm hoping it goes more into like the Ronin Japan stuff.
Oh, okay.
Because that would be cool. Some samurai stuff. I don't know.
But this just really shows like how much Marvel has grown. The fact that there's all kinds of stuff you can't even keep track of all the stuff.
It's like I honestly I don't even know what.
I think they maybe should have had a little bit of a break after Endgame.
Yeah,
Like with
that would be
Spider-Man
ideal
came
for
out
me.
way too soon.
Even after Spider, ideally after Endgame, but
Yeah,
even after
even
Spider-Man,
after
they just had a
Spider-Man.
breather.
It was telling them at the beginning of the trailer of Spider-Man, Tom Holland's like yeah, don't watch this
Yeah.
trailer. It's like, that's
Yeah.
probably a
I
sign this
saw
film's
this-
coming out way too soon.
I saw this comment, maybe it was on Twitter or something. It said that like announcing the new wave of Marvel films is like finishing a PhD and going immediately back to primary school. So we've had this massive saga, and now and now a Black Widow prequel is the next one. Okay,
Well, everyone,
okay.
like 10 years too late,
You
probably.
know, it's different. It's, to be fair, it's a different.
And now,
kind
okay,
of film,
talking about
spy stuff.
films that should be R-rated, that should be R-rated because she's an assassin who uses guns and her sexuality to kill people. That should be an R-rated movie. I don't think you can do that properly with a 12A.
No,
I'm
I
sure
don't
they'll
know.
try.
I mean, well,
I think
James
it
Bond
can,
is
but,
Yeah,
and
but James Bond the modern ones at least feel like tonally weird because it's like they're trying to go for this dark
Casino
thing.
Royale did it pretty well.
Yeah,
And
I
Sky,
think you
yes,
can argue
I
with
mean
Casino
Casino
Royale.
Royale's kind of like the exception. It's like it's a miracle they managed to. Skyfall's good, but it's not.
I
It's
think
not,
Quantum
it's not
Solace
amazing.
had the tone of Casino Royale. It was just a terrible film.
Yeah, better than Spectre. I'll say that. Quantum of Solace is better than
I
Spectre.
gets his eyes gouged out in Spectre. Implicitly.
I had to
Yeah.
re-watch Quantum Solace at uni and did not enjoy it. Don't know why they picked that one.
Yeah,
but
all James Bond films.
yeah, the guy was just like a sadist. I think the lecturer. It's like of, like all the ones. You know, they probably should have taken a little break, Marvel, but got to keep the train going. I guess.
Yeah, I
the
mean
money
at this
train
point it's
going.
just like an unstoppable force.
Yeah.
You know, just
Too big to fail.
They're probably trying to take a step back in this next phase from like everything connecting, leading to something.
Yeah.
at first.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
I think in
like,
phase 5 they'll probably start doing that. But
Yeah, well,
because like all these films are basically, except Thor 4 and I guess all the confirmed sequels. Other than those, like
Yeah.
most of these films, like completely new.
Well, the theory that I heard, which seems quite plausible, is that what they're building to as the next big, you know, kind of Thanos thing is with the introduction of the Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom, because Doctor Doom's such a big villain in the Marvel universe,
could
in the
be good.
comics.
Yeah.
So that seems like that could be the thing they're leading to. He's going to be the next kind of massive...
Ben, you're like, I assume the biggest Fantastic Four fan in this room.
Now
Probably.
explain for the
So-
folks at home who Doctor Doom is.
Doctor Doom is.
Everyone knows Doctor Doom.
Yeah,
I mean, but no, I just meant like,
But
what do you hope
well,
the film will be,
what
or
I
how
hope it'll be about.
them in the MCU? What do you hope
Well,
that will be?
I think they can tie it with the Skrulls. I always associate the Skrulls with Fantastic
Yeah, I
Four.
do as
They're
well.
closely tied, aren't they?
Yeah.
You
Oh,
can have
yeah.
Super Skrull,
Super Skrull,
the
yeah.
Skrull with the powers.
Is that he has
the
all of their powers?
He's what was he made in a lab or something, and he has
So
the
he's a
powers of all
stretchy,
the
fiery rock, invisible guy.
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
So they could do that. Have because then there's all the space stuff happening, which is perfectly
Yeah.
suited to the Fantastic Four, and then
How's it-
they can finally
Yeah.
do Doctor Doom
Well,
justice.
do the Fantastic Four get their powers in space?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that
They were
makes
hit
sense.
by cosmic rays.
Yeah, so that kind of
On
makes
an outer
sense.
space adventure.
So that would,
What?
because that kind of perfectly segues the whole Nick Fury and space thing. I don't
Yeah,
know. Maybe
that's
that's
what I mean.
maybe
It's-
that's how they link
Yeah.
it.
It's coming.
How are they
anyway.
going to do stuff like the Baxter Building and
Baxter-
like...
There's gonna be a line where it's like, oh yeah, like Nick Fury's gonna be like some kind of Fantastic Four, you know? Like there's gonna be
Well,
some.
did any of you see the 2015 one?
No, I
Fan
didn't.
Four Stick. No, I didn't see that
Fucking
one.
terrible. That's one of the worst. Probably just films I've ever seen.
Also,
They have this really. They have a bit coming up with the name at the end of that,
Oh really?
where Johnny Storm is utterly needlessly offensive. They're
Really?
just brainstorming names, and the way that Michael B. Jordan delivers it is genuinely hateful. When he says something like, "How about 3 friends and the thing no one wanted?" It's like, oh,
Wow.
come on, man! Like you saved the world together. You bonded as a team, and you just
Can't help
spit
looking
that
like
out.
a rock thing.
And then they're looking at the lab. The thing goes, gotta say, it's fantastic.
Credits
Reed
roll.
Richard, played by Miles Teller, goes,
Oh yeah.
say that again. And the thing goes, it's fantastic. And he goes, guys, I've got it.
Oh.
Credits roll.
Oh no.
They wanted to do like an Ultron thing, Avengers. But it's just awful. Like, honestly,
That's bad.
it's a terrible film.
What's interesting if you think about it is from both eras, the shitty Fantastic Four films, Chris Evans became Captain America, and then Michael B. Jordan became Killmonger.
Yeah, they've approached
Oh,
2
yeah.
Human Torches.
Yeah, that's
Weird. A lot of people want what's his face, John Krasinski,
To be Mr. Fantastic.
and
Yeah, I've heard people
Emily
say-
Blunt
Emily
to be
Blunt.
Yeah.
Susan Storm.
because they're actually married, aren't
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they'd be really good.
Yeah, I think they would. Be
I
good.
would want Zac
you want?
Efron as Human Torch.
Interesting choice.
I think, you know, he's...
How old is he now?
That's the question of the day.
Yeah.
He's,
It'll be like
he's getting on a
early
little bit.
30s,
probably.
maybe.
But in Hollywood years, that's
That's true. He
he's
can
still,
play like a
you know,
19-year-old.
He's he's barely moved on since the High School Musical. And
And
where I
Danny
struggle
DeVito is the thing, yeah?
where I struggle is the thing. I don't know who could play him because you could just have the voice.
But he's got to start as a human.
Yeah, but then
Unless you're thinking like
that's
skip
the thing,
the origin or...
No, well, he starts as a skinny human in the terrible one. It's Jamie Bell, who is also in Snowpiercer.
Oh yeah, I've seen
That was
that.
him.
Yeah.
And he gets beaten up by his brother. This is another horrible thing from Fantastic. It starts with them as children. Ben Grimm's older brother is angry at him, and then he goes, "It's clobbering time!" The thing's catchphrase
like
comes from being
trauma.
physically abused by his brother. The whole thing is just horrible.
Well, that's actually, now that you mention it, we were saying how it was good with Spider-Man in the MCU. They didn't bother to do his origin again. You know, we've all seen it before.
Yeah.
Will they do that with the Fantastic Four?
No, I
They're
think
less known.
should.
They're less known.
They can skip.
It's
I think they deserve a fresh start. Like the reason you can skip Spider-Man is because
Everyone knows.
everyone knows him, and the films. Everyone knows those older films and likes them.
Yeah.
I don't
Especially the
think
Sam Raimi ones.
Exactly,
Everyone
the
watched those,
Sam Raimi ones are the people really they grew up with them. They're much more iconic than Fantastic Four, the 2004 or 5
Yeah.
ones, or
2015.
2015
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
You don't want that. Also, they got their powers a different way in both of those films, so I think they should.
Really?
Yeah, in Fantastic, it's like an alternate dimension.
Oh, right.
It's like a portal to another world.
Whereas
rather
it's
than
just space in the other one, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, they could do Doctor Strange. I don't know. Maybe space is better though. I don't really know how they should get that.
And they've got to that kind of stage now where like everything is kind of linked, and it's like space magic. Yeah, it's all just there, you know.
They got
There's
a lot of
magic in
options.
space, you know. There's technology in space. There's magic out on Earth. It's just like.
That's probably a good place to wrap up, I guess, because we talked about
Yeah.
a lot of different things. We're like semi-interested in new Marvel films.
It's, take them as they come.
Yeah.
I'm not going to write them all off. I'm not rabidly
Yeah.
excited for them. If it looks good, I'll see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'll definitely see Fantastic Four, even if it looks terrible.
there you go. You got Ben's seal of approval, Marvel. So
And watch The Boys.
and watch The Boys as
The
well.
Boys is good, yeah.
If we do another one of these, we'll probably go into a spoiler thing about that.
Alright.
Take it easy.